On the Marion Star Live, we are here live at the Little Egypt Arts Association. In the past couple months, we've been showing you some news about new murals coming to downtown Marion, but this one here behind us dates back to 2009 and showcases some of the inner workings of what happens inside this building.
And in just a few moments, we'll take you inside to show you what the Little Egypt Arts Association has been up to. They're hosting a high school arts show, and we'll show you some of the winners.
And sticking with the LAA theme, our Turning Back Time segment tonight will tell you the history of this building known as the PAL building, which now hosts the LAA.
Aaron Price will have an interview with Mayor Mike Absher to discuss some changes that are coming to the Tower Square Plaza area, and we'll take another step closer to reality this week.
Also, Aaron Price was at the Pavilion, which is hosting a vaccine clinic for essential workers, teachers, and some seniors over the age of 65 to get vaccinated for COVID-19.
And we'll have an interview with a Marion native who lives and works near the Capitol building and get his reaction to the January 6th riots as security precautions being taking a lead up during this week leading up to the inauguration.
Also in sports, I'll give you the latest we're hearing from the IHSA on the winter sports season. I'll also tell you the latest news from Saluki Athletics, and I'll pass along the news of the passing of a Marion Wildcat legend.
And I'll show you some of the winners from the annual Marion Chamber of Commerce Awards ceremony, which took place virtually last night.
All this and much more on a jam-packed edition of the Marion Star Live tonight. Stay with us.
Now live from Swinford Media Group. The Marion Star, where Marion is the star.
Good evening and welcome to the Marion Star Live. I'm Rachel Stroud.
And I'm Riley Swinford. As we told you, we're coming to you live from the Little Egypt Arts Association building on Tower Square Plaza, where there's a high school art show on display, and we're excited to bring you some of the work later on in this broadcast.
We also have an interview with Mayor Mike Absher about some improvements that are being made to the Tower Square Plaza area, but we'll have that in a little bit. First, we have a long-awaited COVID-19 vaccine that is starting and will be available to some seniors and some essential workers.
During the past couple of days, the Pavilion of the City of Marion has hosted a vaccine clinic. Our Aaron Price was there, and here's Aaron with that report.
Yeah, that's right. The first public COVID-19 vaccinations officially began today here at the Pavilion in Marion. The Bi-County Health Department is hosting free COVID-19 vaccination clinics for the next few weeks. Those who qualify for the vaccines must be in Phase 1A or 1B. Those include police officers, teachers, and frontline healthcare workers, just to name a few. Another large group able to receive the COVID-19 vaccine in Phase 1B is those age 65 and over. Vaccines administered at Bi-County Health's clinics only apply to those who live in Franklin or Williamson County. If you plan on receiving the vaccine, you must provide proof of residency and employment. Now, even though times have already been fully booked, the Bi-County Health Department tells us they plan to release additional COVID-19 vaccination clinics in the coming weeks. For now, reporting live in Marion for the Marion Star Live, I'm Aaron Price.
Thanks, Aaron. We will continue with more about that vaccine as it continues to be rolled out in the next couple of weeks.
When we saw the violent images coming from the U.S. Capitol last week during the riots, many of us could not help but wonder what it was like to be there. One Marion native, Paul Ash, works just a few steps away from the Capitol, and he told us in an exclusive interview earlier this week what it was like to be in the nation's capital during those events. Here's our Bill Swinford with Paul Ash for more on his thoughts and feelings from the events in the Capitol.
Paul Ash is a 2007 graduate of Marion High School who went on to study at Florida International and the University of Westminster, earning 2 college degrees. He took a job in Washington, D.C., and later started his own high-end pearl jewelry business called Spay. He has a showroom on Pennsylvania Avenue, just blocks from the White House, but he was at his home in Washington when the events of January 6th occurred.
So what's interesting about living in D.C. is what's national news for most people in America is local news for us. So we have a lot of friends that work at the Capitol, or people that we know are out and about and are seeing things. So pretty much as things were starting to get ugly, people are texting furiously, "Are you watching this? Turn on CNN," or whatever news channel. And I was pretty much engrossed in the TV from then on throughout the rest of the evening. But I was at home, and then very shortly after that, we have the emergency systems that went into place here. So I received 2 emergency alerts on my phone, as well as a follow-up call from DC saying, stay in place, don't exit, and then there's a curfew from 6 p.m. on. So in theory, if you were out and about on the streets after 6 p.m. that Wednesday through the following morning, then you could, in theory, have been arrested. So they're pretty, as you might imagine, pretty strict on lockdowns and keeping the people and the infrastructure that are in Washington pretty safe, or as safe as they can. So they take incidents like that very seriously, and their first concern from the mayor's perspective was keeping Washingtonians safe. I think the majority of the people that were involved in the kind of incursion into the Capitol building were from other places. So I don't know if I would say 98% of them had come in, traveled into Washington for that experience. And so the mayor was very much interested in keeping Washingtonians safe and then letting the police handle the rest. And I think there was some expectation that there's going to be rabble-rousing or a protest that doesn't go as planned. I think people were very surprised at just how quickly and efficiently this group of people were able to overtake what should be one of the most secure buildings in America. So I think that was a bit of a wake-up call, especially for the Capitol Police, and just, I guess, event preparedness. Nobody, I think, had expected that level of intensity to come in, and it was clear they weren't prepared for it. And so that was, I think, alarming.
Especially for someone like Paul, who works to unite, not divide, people with different backgrounds and beliefs.
Like the Midwestern friendliness, and I think that, at least in my interactions in DC, has probably been one of the better or greater assets that Marion has given to me. Just in terms of saying hello to a neighbor or waving at somebody, that kind of stuff. Big cities often get a bad rapport of just, people bumping into you as they walk down the sidewalk or ignoring you or honking all the time. And while that is true, in DC in particular, you have such a large convergence of people that on any given day you can meet just wonderfully interesting, exciting individuals from all across the globe that, one could be working in nuclear research and the other one could be a legislative aide at the Capitol or what have you. So you can interact with these people as long as you just, smile and say hello. And DC's been hit pretty hard just in terms of the violent protests and stuff that have happened over the course of the past year. So businesses have been dramatically affected. Ones that are still reeling from COVID, having to be closed, now are, boarded up, just bracing for more mayhem in the streets. And so things like that are directly affect the residents because it creates that sense of, why are you doing this to our city? Yes, protest, your voice should be heard, but we have spaces for that. And as long as you do it peacefully, by all means, get your voice out there and get it heard. But the moment you start destroying property and just being awful, that's when our tolerance dramatically goes down.
2 years ago, Paul founded the National Bell Festival, a New Year's Day event.
We started here in DC, and then the idea is we're growing yearly. So we just concluded on New Year's Day our 2nd annual festival. So we had churches and bell towers and structures, municipal buildings ringing throughout the Northeast, into the Midwest, and then the South as well. So then every year we get more towers participating, create more of that kind of sound canopy over the United States. As a way to literally ring in the new year, but also remind people kind of that we're all in this together, celebrate community and the spirit of togetherness, which is what bell towers, to me, have always stood for.
To learn more about Paul Ash's nonprofit National Bell Festival, visit nationalbellfestival.org. Reporting for the Marion Star Live, I'm Bill Swinford.
Thanks for talking with us, Paul. We think that Marion's Tower Square Plaza Bell Tower would be a great addition to the National Bell Festival, and we hope to see that happen maybe as soon as next New Year's Day.
And speaking of Marion's Tower Square, the Marion City Council and Marion Mayor Mike Absher have some plans in the works on ways to improve things downtown, including parking and ways to bring more business and more people to the downtown area. This week at the Marion City Council meeting, Mayor Absher and the City Council voted to bring the project a little bit closer to reality. Absher told Aaron Price a little bit more about that project during an interview earlier today. Aaron?
Big changes are officially coming to Marion's Tower Square Plaza. At Monday's City Council meeting, members approved an engineering agreement with Chastain and Associates for the design of the improvement project. Marion Mayor Mike Absher says he is hopeful construction on the inner circle of Tower Square will be completed by the end of the year.
We're just now starting to get into it, and the design is not complete. It's not agreed on as to what elements are there or are not, but I hope that once we do get on that, the construction won't take all that long and we'll be able to enjoy it by the fall or at least the winter.
Some ideas for the construction include a seasonal fountain and ice rink, rain gardens, new benches, shade structures, and removable bollards, just to name a few.
Again, the whole point is to have reasons for people to visit the square continually and to enjoy it. So beyond that, though, there are some pergolas and things that will be built on, of course, there's no corners of it, but if you watch where the pathways, the walkways are onto the circle, that's what I'm talking about as the corners. There's some pergolas there that'll provide some shade, so if people wanted to eat under them, or if you wanted to bring a guitar or something like that and play music, you could have some shade and have a venue to do that. So the outermost part of the square, the center part, will largely remain the same, although the landscaping may change, but that's where we've got our monuments, and those will probably stay, although some of them we may remount, because there's some of them are mounted on brick, some of them are mounted on granite, and we may want to try to make that a little bit more uniform. But other than that, the part nearest the street's probably largely going to stay the same.
City officials are also hoping to introduce a new smart parking system. Absher says that any additions will not be completed until construction on the inner circle of the square is complete.
To get into the 21st century, this smart parking is actually not really all that difficult. Technologically, is you put a little hockey puck type device in the pavement, and it just simply senses whether there's something sitting above it or not and communicates that to an antenna, and that antenna communicates it through the internet to an app or a cloud-based platform, of which there could be an app or signs that we display and can direct people where the open spots are. It's also, from a wayfinding standpoint, those of us that are familiar with Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever that says take me there, you push a button and take me there, it also should have the ability for you to identify where you want to go, and it will show you the nearest parking place to that at that moment, of course. So we've got to do both. It's not just a technological issue, but there are some people that will solely use technology to find it, but honestly, it's not rocket science. We got to do a better job of showing people just how convenient and how quick they can get onto the square and all the businesses that are on the square. We just got to do a better job at that. But so the technology is just one piece of that effort.
City officials are still working to finalize a design plan for the new improvements. Reporting for the Marion Star Live, I'm Aaron Price.
We've got more to share with you from the Little Egypt Art Association, including the history of the organization as well as some history from this building.
We'll also bring a recap of the Marion Chamber of Commerce 100th Annual Awards Dinner, which was held virtually last night. Stay with us.
Swinford Media and the Marion Star are proud to have the Watermark Auto Group as a sponsor of all our digital programming.
Swinford Media and the Marion Star appreciate the support of the Arcadia Wealth Group, which is sponsoring Wildcat Wednesdays and our Turning Back Time segments.
Welcome back. That shot you just saw was a shot we took of the exterior of this building around Christmas time. Now, back in the day, this building used to serve as a clothing store. Bill Swinford has more in his Turning Back Time segment about the history of the LAA building.
It was the year 1930, and Frank Powell had been in the clothing business for more than 3 decades in downtown Marion. His slogan was that he offered the best clothes in Egypt, referring to the nickname for Southern Illinois that has been used since the 1800s. Also in 1930, young Miss Mabel Parks took a job at F.W. Woolworth's on the west side of Marion's public square. She grew to become a valuable employee at the store, overseeing the floor while also helping manage the books. In 1940, Frank Powell bought the former Burkhart's Shoes building at 600 Public Square, right next door to Woolworth's, and he moved his Powell's clothing store there. A year later, Miss Mabel Parks married Ronald Albright, who was an Army sergeant during World War II, who then spent 3 years in the Civilian Conservation Corps. By the year 1955, Ronald was working for Mr. Powell, while his wife Mabel was marking her 25th year at F.W. Woolworth's next door. Then Frank Powell decided to retire and close up shop. It was uncertain at first what would become of the store and inventory, but Ronald stepped up and bought the store's contents and opened Albright's clothing store. Mabel immediately walked over and joined him, leaving Woolworths to turn their marriage partnership into a business partnership. Their business operated out of what is now the Little Egypt Arts Association building for 44 years, surviving the ups and downs of business, such as the time in 1957 when police were called after a man walked out with 3 suits without paying, or in 1966 when a fire threatened the business but was fortunately extinguished before much damage could be done. The Albrights had no children of their own, but they loved to welcome kids to the store, often displaying school projects from one of the local elementary schools in their windows. One special visitor was young Lisa Hill, whose parents attended the First United Methodist Church with the Albrights. Over time, Ronald and Mabel became like family to Lisa, who grew up to marry Trevor Dowdy of Marion. She now says she and her husband remained very close to the Albrights through the years.
She taught me how to draw, and he loved to ride horses with me. I was with them a lot. I guess from the time I was born, I stayed with them. I spent the night with them, went to dinner with them. After my dad died, stayed with them quite a bit. I mean, we did, Aunt Mabel taught Sunday school, and so on Saturday nights when I would stay with them, we'd have to prepare her Sunday school lesson. And that's really how she met my parents. She was their Sunday school teacher in 20-some years. And so she taught an adult Sunday school class. He went and opened up the church, ushered, all that kind of stuff. And of course, as I said, I grew up there, so I was confirmed into that church. Aunt Mabel and Uncle Ron guided me in the church all along the way. As my husband says, they're his role model for a good Christian. They did what they were supposed to do, and they were just good Christian people. My husband said that they were the most dedicated, inspirational, life-changing people that he knew.
The Swinfords met Ronald and Mabel Albright when Kim Riley and I came to First United Methodist Church to serve as youth pastors in 1995. Mr. Albright invited me to his store and gifted me with a badly needed new suit, which still has a place of honor in my closet today. 2 years later, the Albrights were honored with the Marion Chamber of Commerce's Lifetime Achievement Award. By 1999, Lisa and Trevor Dowdy were long established in Charleston, Illinois, but Lisa started traveling home to help the Albrights manage the store in their twilight years. They eventually closed Albright's Clothing, and the Albrights, along with the store's contents, moved to Charleston to be close to the Dowdys. Today you can visit Dowdy's men's clothing store on the Charleston Public Square, where you will find the Albrights display cases and the century-old cash machine from the National Cash Register Company in Dayton, Ohio. Ronald passed away in 2004 and Mabel just a year later. After the Albrights had closed and moved north, the Powell family, who still owned the building at 600 Public Square, gave it to the Little Egypt Arts Association, and it remains their headquarters and arts center. Special thanks to Lisa Hill Dowdy for her help with this story, and as always to Sam Latuka and his Marion, Illinois Historical Preservation website for some background information and a few of the photos we used. We appreciate the continuing support of B.W. Bruce and the Arcadia Wealth Group in sponsoring these Turning Back Time installments. For the Marion Star Live, I'm Bill Swinford.
We're coming to you live tonight from the Little Egypt Art Association building. This week, they just finished a renovation on their floor. They've got these new beautiful hardwood floors in here. And let me tell you, this building just keeps getting better and better. Something else that's happening in here right now is the high school art show. Riley had the opportunity to speak with one of the art teachers from Marion High School, Amber Akes, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about the artwork that her students have on display here.
I'm now joined by Mrs. Amber Akes. Thanks for joining us. There's a lot of great art on display here, but tell us a little bit about the Marion High School students' artwork that's on display here.
Well, we had kind of a mini contest at school to narrow it down to 10 pieces to enter into the school, into the art competition. So we have 10 students that got into the show that are hanging in the gallery, and then out of those 10, we had 7 students place.
And from what I can tell, they kind of varied by medium. There's a lot of different styles of art. Can you talk about what all is showcased between like watercolor, sculptures, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we tried to pick different media. So we have some drawing, painting, graphic design, photography. So there's a little bit sculpture. So we tried to vary what we entered into the competition.
Kind of give the people at home kind of an understanding of how much hard work that takes. I mean, it just doesn't happen over the course of a couple classes. I mean, this is on their own time, at home, coming in after school, I'm sure. I know these take a lot of time.
Yeah, right now due to COVID, so we have some hybrid students and we have fully remote students. And actually about 50% of these are done by remote students.
Yeah.
So I know that they have spent many hours creating this. You know, some of the sculptures that they've done, I know probably took about 20 hours or so.
Yeah.
Same with the drawings. You know, it just takes a lot of time and patience to work through to get to the art that you see hanging on the walls.
You touched on COVID. Talk about how during these kind of unprecedented times, art is one of the things that you can still do. I know it's different at school, but these students at home and even non-students, the older viewers and things that are participants here at the LEA, art is one of the acceptable activities that you can do by yourself, socially distanced. How has art kind of helped artists through this kind of pandemic?
Well, it is a very good individual medium that we guys can do. It's really good for mental health. You know, I can give them prompts, and then the way the students respond to those prompts in their artwork is really interesting to see how they're working through our pandemic that's going on right now.
Yeah.
So it is really good for them to be able to do something, you know, whenever we can't really get out and do a lot with a lot of people,
Right.
that they can do something that is individualized like that.
And before I let you go, one more question. I know from when I was in high school, there's normally art shows at the high school that bring out, you know, big crowds and the hallways are full of art and all that kind of thing. But obviously, due to COVID, you know, we can't do it in that kind of way. So how is it nice to have a place like this downtown that people can kind of come see it at their own pace and have the students' artwork featured, you know, to show off all their hard work?
Yeah, this school year has been a challenge with art competitions because we're usually very busy with them, and we've still been able to compete in a few competitions throughout the nation. Having this one local is really nice because then the students can actually come to the gallery
Right.
and see their work and see some of that. Yeah.
Well, it all looks very good. Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you so much for letting us know how the students' artwork has turned out.
All right, thank you.
I'm now joined by Marion High School senior Mika Sarasbino. Thank you so much for joining us. We're here next to her sculpture. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your piece of art here on display.
Yeah, so this is a modular origami sculpture. It's made out of a bunch of tiny folded triangles essentially, and they fit together like puzzle pieces. And once I was done assembling it all, I covered it up in glue, and it's sturdy as ever now, and it was fun.
It's really impressive. How much time went into something like that?
It took a few weeks, I think, because most of the time went into folding all of these. They're quite strong little pieces of paper. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the inspiration. Did you have kind of a sketch or something going into it when you got started, or was it kind of as you went, you kind of molded it into the shape. Talk about like the process, I guess.
So for the assignment that Miss Akes gave us, a lot of the examples that she gave were very like vase structured kind of pieces, and I wanted to go something very organic and very round and, you know, organic, and that's pretty much what I went with. And I didn't sketch out anything, I kind of just went along with it and saw what fit and what worked best.
Very cool. And, you know, we're here at the LAA to talk about art as a whole and art being on display. How does it make you feel as an artist to see your hard work in such a, like a prestigious environment?
It's really cool, and it's fun to see everyone else's art here too, especially from our school, being featured here because, well, before COVID, we could all have fun here. And go, wow, look at that, that's your art, wow, good job, we got these awards.
Right.
And, yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I know you've been very busy with all different types of art. Back in the fall, we showcased your mural down here in downtown Marion on the Pickers Paradise building. So I think art has been kind of a creative outlet for you during the pandemic to kind of stay involved and stay active. Talk about how that's, you know, helped you through these hard times.
Well, it really has helped because with COVID, we're stuck at home, and it's a good way to really put what you're feeling on the inside outside onto something in the real world. And in school, it's been really fun because even though we can't have a full classroom with everyone in it, we still get to enjoy each other's work and see how we're doing with each other, and yeah.
Well, that's awesome, and you're obviously very good at it, so congratulations on your mural and your artwork here on display. So best of luck to you in the future with your art.
Thank you.
I'm now joined by LAA Vice President Bill Hamer. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for having us here at your building downtown. Talk to me a little bit about the history of what the LAA is. I know people circle around the square all the time. They see the mural on the side of the building. They might see some of the displays in the windows, but a lot of people might not know what this is. So go ahead and tell the people at home kind of what the LAA is and what you guys do.
Well, the LAA is kind of like a wheel of arts, and each of the different kinds of art is like a spoke in this wheel. We're looking here at the example of high school students. Obviously, this is one form of medium. The area that I got involved in when I first came to LAA was Lou's Little Egypt Writers Society. Okay. So there's photography, there's jewelry, there's fabric. All these different areas of arts has a home here in LAA. And if you're a member of LAA, you're free to come to as many or any of the meetings that you're interested in.
I see. So how, if someone's at home and they're just now hearing about this or they've been interested in a while, how can someone join? I know it's maybe a little different right now due to COVID, but how could someone join in and join this organization?
Well, what I would recommend they do is they contact one of us to find out where a group that they're interested in is meeting, and they should come to a couple of meetings and see if they really like what they're doing. If they're interested in what they're doing, then we give them an opportunity to become a member.
Okay. And we've been kind of showcasing tonight all the different high school art students' work on display. How is that inspiring to you to see the next generation of artists coming up through the ranks and such beautiful art here on display?
Well, I have to tell you, I'm spoiled. I used to be the assistant director of the Marion Cultural and Civic Center, so I learned decades ago just how much talent there is in the young people here in the Williamson County and all around Southern Illinois. It's been a real pleasure to be somebody that promotes the arts and gives them opportunities to discover themselves through the arts.
And if someone at home just wants to come out and see the art on display and take a look at what all you guys have, what's the hours of operation and things right now?
Unfortunately, under the current conditions, we don't have fixed hours. You can give a call over here. I don't have the phone number on hand at the moment, but I'll get that. and find out if we're open. We try to have somebody here during the day so that if anybody passing by wants to come in, they're more than encouraged.
I'm joined now by Bonnie Davis. She is a board member here at the Little Egypt Art Association. Bonnie, thank you for having us in today to take a look at some of this incredible artwork. Now, I've been told you've been here for a long time.
12 years.
12 years. What is your favorite part about the Little Egypt Art Association?
Well, when I came here, I was like a pencil drew. I never knew about art, jewelry, fibers. I mean, and it just blew me away. And when I joined, I just come in and just, there I was. Love it, love it, love it. It's so diversified.
Yeah, and you were telling me that you've really enjoyed getting to know some of the people.
Oh yeah, the people
artists.
here, we have people here from all kinds. Teachers from SIU, John A. Logan, everywhere. It's not just regular people, it's educated people. Artists, we have artists that show, I mean, they show all over the place. Beautiful. They win.
That's fantastic that we have such great art right here at home, right out of our back door. Now we're standing in the gift shop area, and you mentioned jewelry and paintings and fibers. Can you tell us what all kinds of art people can find here?
Oh, they can find books. We have publishers' books, people that write books. We have the jewelry. We have the paintings. What else do we have?
I saw some fantastic pictures whenever I was upstairs looking around earlier.
Yes, photographers, painters. It's just a diversified group, and we really enjoy each other. We enjoy each other's art. We appreciate each other's art. And a lot of the people who come in here, they go, I didn't know this was here, you know?
It's a hidden treasure.
It is.
That's so special. Well, you've obviously got some cool things that people can purchase here. There's some really pretty postcards over in the corner and some jewelry and other photos that's for sale in your gift shop.
Everything here is made by our artists.
That is so
Nothing
special.
Nothing is brought in.
That's really cool. If somebody wants to get involved, how do they go about doing that?
They can come and join us. We go our term is from July 1st to June 30th, and they can come in. The one initiation fee covers everything. I don't care what they want to do, it covers everything.
Okay.
We don't say, well, you got to pay for this, you got to pay for that. No. You join, you're us.
You're part of the family.
You're part of the family, really. Yes, you are.
Well, thank you for inviting us in today and giving us a tour. And if you're interested in checking out what's here at the Little Egypt Art Association, be sure you give them a phone call and make sure that they're open and stop on by and see some of the fantastic artists and their work displayed right here in Marion.
Thanks, Rachel. Moving on to other news of the week, traffic was impacted for a short time Wednesday evening following an emergency planned landing on Interstate 57 just south of Marion. According to police, a Cessna 175 Skylark departed Veterans Airport and made an emergency landing in the median around 8:34 p.m. near mile marker 47. The pilot was not injured and there was minimal damage to the plane. The cause of the incident is unknown at this time, and we're glad to report that no other vehicles or drivers were impacted by that landing. After this break, I'll be back with my sports, including an update on how the IHSA continues to try to decide what to do with the winter sports season. Stay with us.
You work hard. You play hard. Build your performance and replenish with crisp and clear premium water when you need to quench that big thirst. Get more premium water at a lower price, now in a convenient 2-liter bottle. Buy one 2-liter bottle of crisp and clear water and get a 2-liter Pepsi for half price at participating locations. Crisp and clear premium water.
The Marion Star Sports.
IHSA athletics remain on pause. This comes after a board meeting this week where no action was officially taken. The board directed the IHSA staff to take feedback from the meeting as well as any insight gained in the coming weeks and bring forward a viable scheduling option for a special meeting on January 27th. The board will provide an update following that meeting. In a statement, the IHSA said, "We realize that there is a desire for finality on a sports schedule for 2020-2021. However, we did not believe it would be prudent to lock ourselves into a schedule at a time when IHSA schools are unable to conduct any sports. Per Governor Pritzker, we have hoped that low-risk sports may be permitted in certain regions of the state as early as January 15th. With that in mind, February seems like a realistic timeline to have sports resume statewide. The IHSA expects that the events of the next 2 weeks will go a long way into informing the opinion of which scheduling option they decide to proceed with. IHSA recognizes that if no sports have resumed by February, season lengths could be impacted in certain sports, and the IHSA may need to take a longer look at the likelihood of true seasons being conducted in high-risk sports this year. The IHSA's overall goal, as they say, remains unchanged, as they hope to conduct all IHSA sports during the remainder of the school calendar. Earlier today, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker did scale back some of the mitigations from Tier 3 to Tier 2, which may allow some low-risk sports such as boys and girls bowling to begin playing soon, while other higher-risk sports will have to continue to wait until they can officially resume, but they will be able to have no-contact practices and workouts. The IHSA is expected to continue to give their schools clarifications in the coming weeks. IHSA sports have been officially on pause since November 20th. Now on to the college ranks, where local college teams, including the Southern Illinois Salukis, are permitted to play. SIU Athletics announced earlier today that it will allow season ticket holders, a select number of students, and player families to attend the 2021 spring football season at Saluki Stadium in just a few weeks. There will be no walk-up ticket sales on game day. Seating capacity for 4 games will be limited to approximately 15% of the 15,000-seat Saluki Stadium. Safety measures will include socially distanced, assigned seating, while tailgating will not be permitted, and fans will be required to wear a mask while in the stadium except for when they are eating or drinking. Also on Friday, the Missouri Valley Football Conference issued a statement saying that they do plan to move forward with an 8-game schedule this spring, despite Indiana State's announcement that they will not be participating in football this year. And if all goes as planned and no more positive COVID-19 tests are found, the basketball Salukis will return to action Thursday night at Missouri State. The Salukis will also play January 25th and 26th at Indiana State to make up that previously postponed series, and then they will host Valpo on February 20th and 21st to make up that series, which was postponed from originally being scheduled for this weekend due to positive tests among the Salukis. And one more note we did want to pass along. Ron Joyner, who was the announcer of home Marion sporting events for more than 30 years, has passed away. He was 73 years old. Mr. Joyner was the PA announcer for home Marion basketball and football games, along with some track and field meets for parts of 30 years. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family. For the full obituary, visit the Blue Funeral Home website. That will do it for sports. I'm Riley Swinford. Rachel and I will be back to wrap things up right after this.
At Farmers State Bank, we prioritize not only our customers, but the communities that we live in. During this very difficult time,
we value your unwavering trust and loyalty in being your bank.
Supporting and serving local businesses, familiar faces, friends and family.
Each and every day is a large portion of our job.
Farmers State Bank stands community strong.
As your bank, we are committed to bringing you
support, success,
and strength during this time.
Because we are
and always will be
here for you.
At Farmers State Bank,
no one
serves you better.
At Farmers State Bank, no one serves you better.
May God bless you.
May God bless all of you.
Yesterday, the annual Marion Chamber of Commerce Awards Gala was live cast as a virtual event. Riley here was among one of the nominees, and we are proud to bring you this presentation of award winners in this package now. The 100th annual Marion Chamber of Commerce Awards ceremony was held virtually on Thursday night. Event organizers say that they hope this is the first and the last awards event that the Chamber will have to do virtually. They are looking forward to seeing members, award recipients both past and present, as well as sponsors in person again next year. These were the winners of the 2020 Marion Chamber of Commerce Awards. The award for business and industry went to frontline workers. The award of excellence was given to Sean Vincelette and the Laborers Union Local 773. The Mayor's Service Award was given to Marion United event organizers Josh Benetone and Jared Gravatt. The Young Professional Award was given to Dallas Downs. The Distinguished Chamber Member Award went to Brian McHugh. Citizen of the Year, Amanda Throgmorton. The Distinguished Business Award went to Fowler Heating and Cooling. And the Lifetime Achievement Awards were given to Tom Logan and John and Tony Hayes. Congratulations to all of the winners, and we look forward to seeing you in the coming year.
Along with the Marion Chamber of Commerce Awards, another annual event that had to go virtual this year is the Boynton Street Community Center's annual Martin Luther King Day celebration. This year, the celebration will present it virtually through a live cast that we're teaming up with Union Street Arts and the Marion Cultural and Civic Center and the Boynton Street Foundation to bring you Monday at 11 a.m. This year's speakers include Tom Logan of Marion Medical Mission, who worked with Dr. Martin Luther King and his movement in the 1960s before coming to Southern Illinois to build low-income housing around the region. Also featured include WSIL TV's Evie Allen, a Marion native, and Marion Star reporter Colin Garnett, along with a local youth choir and some of the Boynton Street All-Stars. Again, you can tune in at 11 a.m. on our Facebook page, along with the Marion Cultural and Civic Center Facebook pages and other pages around town to watch that live event. You don't want to miss it.
No, you don't. Well, that'll do it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure that you like, comment, and share this broadcast if you enjoyed it. Tag your friends in it if you think that there's something that they might be interested in seeing. We really appreciate all of your support.
And until we go live Monday for the Martin Luther King Day celebration, that will do it for tonight's edition of the Marion Star Live. Thanks again to the LAA for hosting us here downtown. We appreciate them and their hospitality here tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.
The proceeding has been a production of the Marion Star Live. The material may not be reproduced, distributed, transmitted, or otherwise used without the prior written consent of Swinford Publications, LLC.